Hello everyone, it is Giant Sprite Ditto welcoming you back for more Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In the last part, we started up the water temple and made our way through to this very important looking door. And in the last part, we made it to about halfway. I would say this is about the halfway point. And man, I'm not looking forward to this one. Before you head into this door, I really recommend that you are stocked up on fairies and maybe a green potion, which will completely refill your magic. I, however, have none of these things. I am going to equip Den's Fire, the Megaton Hammer, and that's it for now. So, let us head through. Now we can see that there's nothing in here at all. It is an empty void. But the door is barred. But I guess we'll just make our way back to the entrance and... Hello? Who are you? Oh, he's attacking! This is... Dark Link, conquer yourself. So, when you swing your sword, he will jump on top of it. If you do not react quickly, he will completely strike you. He is powerful. Now, not only is this a shadow of yourself, but something that is important to keep in mind is that I have actually made this boss not only harder for myself, but harder for all of you as well. And the way I've done that is... Dark Link's health, the amount of health he has, is equivalent to your heart container, which means that he's actually easier to beat in 3 heart runs than he is when you have more health. The less health you have, the quicker this boss fight wraps up. So you just want to constantly target him. I recommend you get really close, and then when you're really close as you can be, you activate Den's Fire. Now he can block it with his shield, oddly enough, but during the last frame, it will more often than not get him to fall down. And I was probably too far, but if you're too far away from him, he'll actually block his shield long enough to completely block it, like that. So you want to try to get as close as possible, and then use Den's Fire. However, that's not always going to work, and you can actually beat him quite easily if you have enough magic potions to keep refilling your magic and spamming Den's Fire. You can see he's slicing at us, and then he's going to shield. And that's a good indicator that you've definitely hit him. But of course, I'm not going to have enough magic with all the heart containers I have, like the max that I can at this point. I'm definitely not going to be able to defeat him with just Den's Fire. But if you're in a 3-heart run, or you have a lot of magic potions, you're definitely going to be able to conquer him very easily with it. And I feel like that's the intended way, because they definitely gave us a lot of magic for no reason before this fight. And magic hasn't really been required, but honestly, this is the best way to do it, in my opinion. He's going to completely mirror your sword attacks, and it's really cool to actually see Den's Fire in practice. We've had it all this time, and we haven't really used it for anything important, and I do not have enough magic power to use it. So let us try something like Bomb Juice, I guess. I haven't used Bomb Juice at all, but it would be really funny to see. Yeah, okay, that was a waste of time. Wait. Yeah, no, okay, he's just flipping backwards. Let's try bombs. Let's try bombs. And shoutouts to Todd for logging on and playing Doom Eternal, I guess, during my Ocarina of Time playthrough. Come here, come here. Quit dodging, bro, it's not cool. Alright, I'm wasting resources. Next up, Megaton Hammer. This is going to be a safer bet of dealing with him than your sword, even though I'm taking a lot of damage. If you can actually lay an attack on him with the Megaton Hammer, it will do a lot of damage, but he can block it a lot. And I'm starting to take a lot of damage. This is not good. I might actually die here for the first time in forever. Honestly, spin attacks might be your best bet, to be honest. This boss fight can be really hard, and it's just the mini-boss. I kind of wish that this was the boss fight for the entire dungeon, because it's a lot cooler and a lot more difficult than the actual boss. Arrows will work, but with his rolling, you have to be really fast and precise. And it's just going to be hard to do that, and I feel like that's going to be this entire part, is just me trying to attack a Dark Link here. Come on. Okay, I got a good sword hit in. If you wander too far from him like that, he'll actually appear back at the tree again. So if you can't find him, that's where he went. The darker he gets, as in the longer this boss fight goes on, he gets a lot more bold, where he'll actually, as you can see, instead of waiting for you to attack and mirroring it, he'll attack himself. That's kind of the best opportunity to attack him. He's pretty smart. Come on. Honestly, if you want to do some Zelda 2 tricks, try to corner him on this wall. And that did not that did not bode well. Oh, come on, dude. You definitely don't want to use slow attacks like the jump attack. And yeah, I definitely think I've lost this boss fight. There's still a good portion of it left. I am not making much headway at all. Honestly, if we can just try to stab him. Where's a magic potion when you need it? I expected this result. Oh, what an exhausting time. Alright. Well, now that we have that taken care of, it is time for round 2, and as you can see, I have Dense Fire and 2 green potions and a fairy. We are not losing this battle. And just like last time, I'm really just honestly going to load up on Dense Fire and hope that this is close to enough. If it's not, we have our fairy for backup. And we're just going to be spamming it. I can't believe I died during this. I'm leaving that in. I'm leaving that in. But a quick note that if you do die in, say, like this battle, or at all during a boss fight, instead of just continuing, because it gives you the option to, like, save and quit or continue, I honestly just recommend you reset your game. Like, you save before something that you know is going to be tough, and then reset your game. Because if you die and you boot up your game again, your stats kind of carry over. I wouldn't really say stats, but like how I used all my magic power and my hearts were completely drained, when I boot up the game again, my magic bar will be entirely gone, and I would only have 3 hearts. So instead, I saved before I came in here, and I reset my game so I would be at max health and still have my magic bar, so it's a lot easier to manage. The potion shop in Kukiriko Village, I don't think we have gone there, but the house that's right before the Death Mountain Trail is the one you're going to want to go into. There's a sign just like there was in Castletown. You go in there, they have a fairy, which I did that instead of just going to a fairy fountain because money is pointless. And I did not mean to use that yet. But they have magic potions and fairies, and they had red potions, but I figured the fairy would probably be a little bit better. And hopefully he's close to dead soon. I don't think Dense Fire is gonna, even with like 2 green potions, I don't think Dense Fire is gonna completely bail it out. But yeah, I mean, Dense Fire and loading up on green potions, especially if you have all 4 empty bottles, makes this boss fight a complete joke. Even though, as you've seen, it's really hard otherwise. And I've seen Megaton hammer strats, but I don't know, I'm just not very good at doing it. Because there's like specific angles where you'll always get him with the Megaton hammer, and he'll die if you do it right when he spawns, but I'm not very good at it. I mean, I think you could debate that I'm just not very good at the game, but you know how it'd be like that sometimes. And I think that's gonna be our last use before I have to drink the second potion, which thank God I didn't use preemptively. And oh no, I still had one more in me. Alright, let's go. Okay, yeah, that magic bar is very empty. There's definitely not any more left. And we are back to max. And hopefully we won't have that much left. And of course, that's gonna fail. Come on. Well, that hit him before he even shielded. That is kind of insane. Homie just starting to get pretty sloppy. And there he is! Alright, not even 2 whole magic bars. Well, actually, yeah, it's probably like 2 and like 1/12, I guess, because I forgot I preemptively drank that other one. So yeah, not a very long boss fight, but man, when you suck and you use all of your magic, it certainly goes a lot faster. And we can see that this room was just an illusion of our mind. We came through that way, so let's continue heading this way. Let's move on forward in the dungeon and actually make progress instead of continuously dying at Dark Link. And a big chest. A third big chest. Which means... you found the long shot! An upgraded version of the hook shot. It extends twice as far. And... isn't that the same design that's on the Door of Time? Yes, because this is the worst puzzle in the entire game. I hate this puzzle block. Oh, I'm registered as standing on it, so it didn't work. I hate this puzzle. It sucks. I hate this stupid block. It's just... I think I've gone over why I hate it before. But it just feels very, like, lazy. Like, you just see the block, you immediately know what to do. Like, there's no puzzle. There's no figuring it out. It just feels very, like, arbitrary, like a waste of time. Like, if you remove the block or have the block, like... it's gonna stay the same. Like, you already know what to do. You just waste time playing the Song of Time. It's dumb. It's dumb. Alright, so we can see that these whirlpools are going to try to drag us in. If they successfully do so, then they're going to take you back to the beginning of this room. After this first one here, we're going to equip our iron boots, because what else would we do in the water temple? When we fall down here, we can actually see the true power of our long shot. And get this gold Skulltula. Of course, now that we have the long shot, this means that the gold Skulltulas that we have skipped so far are going to be available to us because we have the means of actually reaching them. And you can sneak through a lot of these with your iron boots, but some of them you will just completely slide down. I hope I'm not completely caught, because I've already played badly enough today. If you start to get caught, just really hold the control stick in the opposite direction, and eventually... you will start to swim away. A fairy, that would have been good like 10 minutes ago. You know, with how many times I hit Dark Link with Dense Fire, I feel like I was honestly pretty close to defeating that boss. Like, the first time before I died. And we have a little platform over here. Let's try not to get sucked in. And we can see that we have bars here. Bars, literal bars. Water Temple Fire. Let's go. And we can sort of get a preview of the room I was talking about earlier. We shoot the eye to open the gate, and we can hookshot to something to allow us to get through there quickly. And now that we have this small key, of course, that is going to be what we actually do. And you can see that we get spit out at a room that we've already been to. So now, how do we continue to evoke the strategy? How do we progress when... we've already gone counterclockwise through every room? Well, I told you to go counterclockwise through every room until you've reached a dead end and can't. So we're honestly just going to repeat the process. Yeah, I mean, now that we have the long shot, every way that was blocked off, we now have a way to get through it, which means that we can just go counterclockwise again, and we'll continue to make progress. So once you get the long shot, repeat the process. I can see how even knowing this strategy, some would argue that the dungeon is still repetitive and unnecessary, and to that, yeah, you're right. I still really like this dungeon and think it's clever how it all comes together, but I could really see somebody being a little frustrated with, especially if you're playing on the 64 where you gotta unequip and equip these iron boots. I could see somebody being really frustrated with how repetitive and monotonous it could be of just doing the same stuff and going sort of back and forth. Okay, so I went ahead and I raised the water level to level 2 because I want to make our way through here. There's a slight edit there. I got the gold sculptula, and I had to think about it for a minute. I used a small key because I needed to sort of re-examine it. We're going to now go into all of the rooms that we could not before with the long shot, sort of going in the opposite of where we went before. You're just going to want to kind of make your way down. If you try to do this before like when we're on level 3, then it's not going to work very well because your only options are the entrance to the dungeon, the way we went into to fight Dark Link, and the boss room, and that's it. So we're going to want to start at level 2 and get this one. So we're kind of doing our original method, but in reverse. Starting at the top floor and making our way down, going to every room that we previously had inaccessible in order now that we have the long shot. And of course, I talked about this earlier. This is the block that we set up to where we could push it. So now we have that small key. You should have 2 right now. You should have 2. Because, like I said, I used one to sort of re-examine the dungeon a little bit, but I will point out where I used it. But yes, my number is wrong. You should have 2. So we'll just come up here and continue doing the method, but in reverse. I think we need to have a name for this method instead of just saying the method or me explaining what the method is over and over. How about the ditto water temple method? That's got a, well, it's got a ring to it. Okay, I'm gonna wait a minute before, because if we raise the water level back to level 3, we can, well, I guess it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Okay. Well, back to level 1. Why back to level 1? Because now that we're going in reverse, because we only raised it, like, we only went to level 1 instead of level 2 because, I mean, well, we have to reset to level 1 to get to level 2, but we wanted to get that gold sculpture token, and of course, while we were doing that, I am an idiot. We need to raise it to level 3 anyway. Oh my god, bro. What am I doing? Okay. Step 1, raise the water level. Step 2, head to the north of the temple. After we lower it back to level 1, because you need to have it at level 3 in order to get it to level 1, because you need to reach the top floor of this area in order to play Zelda's Lullaby, but we're actually not going to do that because we need to go back and go get the gold sculptula. So I'm going to go and then just edit all of these parts together of things that we need to do. Alright? Alright, so step 1. We're going to head back towards the direction we went to face Dark Link. If you remember, there was a gold sculptula that we skipped here. But now that we have the long shot, we are able to perfectly, well, I wouldn't call that perfect, but we're able to perfectly defeat the gold sculptula and then grab the token with no issue. Now, it's time for step 2. Lower the water level back to level 1 via the first room that we entered when we first entered the dungeon. With that being said, it is finally time for Step 3, now that the water level is back to level 1, head to the north side of the dungeon so that way we can continue making progress and we can finish this godforsaken dungeon that I thought would be a fun time. Alright, so we are back on track. Like I said, you should have 2 small keys. And I messed up my strategy because I couldn't remember if we had to go back to level 1 and go counterclockwise, but as soon as I opened this door, I was like, no, it's reversed. That's right. We need to go counterclockwise, starting from the 3rd floor, and revisit the very few rooms that we haven't been in. Now, you should have 2 small keys. This will be the locked door for one of them that I have already done. Now, that unlocked, we are back on track and ready to finish the dungeon, hopefully. And what am I doing? I am going to unequip my iron boots because they are annoying. And just like before, there are some waterfalls in here. The water levels, the water speed, the current will switch back and forth between its speed facing different directions to try to get you into those whirlpools, but we are not going to fall for it, and we are just going to continue making our way. So here, I really like this room, believe it or not. I actually like this entire dungeon. I guess I just got a little overwhelmed. But there is a bombable wall here, and I think that this is really cool, because in order to progress further, we need to blow up this wall. Let's break some pots. Clearly, they're going to give us bombs when we need bombs. We're going to pull this block out just a little bit, and then we're going to head to the other side of the room, hopefully. And now that we're on this side, we have another bombable wall that is a lot more well hidden. And we're going to blow that up. Now that that is exposed, we're able to push the block from the other side. And we're able to fully push it out up against the wall. Which will put it in perfect pulling position. We gotta switch back and forth between these two sides because we can see a switch down there. It's a weighted switch and we have no way of stepping on it other than our iron boots, but that is simply not gonna do. Instead of pulling it out all the way, because we will fall into the water ourselves, we need to pull it out just a little bit, so that way we can get behind it and push it onto the switch from this side. Nice. Very, very nice. And that raises the water level to where we're able to actually get out of here. We are almost done. We have just a few rooms left. We are going to want to take care of these Tektites because we have an even more complicated platforming section and they will screw you up. So we're going to step on this switch and we're going to have to jump across 3 different water currents, which can be a little tricky before the time runs out. And there we go. Ocarina of Time was not built for platforming, that's for sure. And behind these rolling rocks is the last gold sculptula of the dungeon. It feels like we really didn't get a whole lot. I mean, I guess it's on par with the other adult dungeons, but it felt like we got those just like a lot faster and like more frequently in the other dungeons, but maybe it's because I stumbled a little bit and had some errors, so I literally left the dungeon to get more items for the mini-boss, but I don't know, the gold sculptula amount just feels very weird in this dungeon to me for some reason. There's 4, and that's not like a ridiculously low amount compared to the other adult dungeons, but who knows? Which I think we have like 71? No, 72. Wow, we are almost done. Yeah, if you didn't get that other small key from the block push, then you are screwed because you need that small key to get in here because we've seen this chest 2 times already, and of course, 3rd time makes the boss key. Now, once again, I am going to cut, because the reason why we're going to cut is because it's honestly just a lot faster to save and quit and then make our way to the boss from the beginning of the dungeon. So I will see you guys back at the beginning. Okay, so of course we had to go back and raise the water level back to level 3, but I honestly still think that that's a lot faster than backtracking our way all the way through those rooms, because we'd still have to raise the water level anyway. So definitely save some time there. But now, the only area of the dungeon that we have yet to go to. Let us make our way to the boss. But you can see, the gasp! This is not the boss room? Nope, instead we actually have a room before the boss room. Up there. Isn't that fun? All of these spikes, I honestly find, because this is a slippery slope, the best way to do this is to just go to a corner and hold the control stick up, and eventually you'll get the timing right to just walk straight up here. That is the best way to try to do that. Definitely don't go through the middle, and we've reached the boss room. Giant aquatic amoeba morpha, because I do not know what that fucking word means, dude. Alright, this boss fight is super simple. As you could expect, we'll be using our dungeon item. Get off the center platform. That is going to make it a lot harder for you. Instead, we're going to wait until Morpha decides to try to attack us by sticking out there. That, of course, will allow us to get a very super awkward angle on... Well, let's see what Navi has to say. Morpha, the master of the water temple. It has absolute control of water. Pull it out of its nucleus and attack it. Yes, because it's going to hide behind the waves. The waves themselves are just in Morpha's control. Essentially, he controls all the water. And that this little ball right here is actually the boss itself. It's the only part that is actually damageable. So when the waves come out of the water, you're going to try to long shot and bring the nucleus to you. If you can try to trap it in a corner, that would be the best. I don't think anything else damages it other than your sword. But that's what we're gonna try to do. We're just gonna wait for Morpha to attack and then bring it over with the long shot. It can grab a hold of you and sling you around. I think it does like 3 hearts of damage. So try not to get too close to Morpha, especially in the later parts of the boss fight, because he'll have like 3-4 tentacles appear to try to grab you. And it gets to be a lot. I am not a super big fan of this boss. It moves around too quickly for the long shot to be extremely accurate, because we only have so much time before it actually makes contact. So there's a little bit of guessing involved in just getting the angles right. And I don't think it's really that hard. If Morpha manages to get a hold of you, it can do a lot of damage, but I mean, honestly, it's a really slow-paced boss that is all about angle work, and I think that the Dark Link boss is a lot cooler. Yeah, we can see that multiple tentacles are starting to come out of the water, but who cares? Morpha is, without a doubt, one of the weakest bosses in the entire game, in my opinion. But at least it's more unique than any boss in Breath of the Wild. Alright, I had to. But yeah, we'll just keep trying to attack. And there's nothing else that goes on during this boss fight. This is it. This is all we do. And my timing is off. There we go. Yeah, like I said, if you can manage to slice to get Morpha caught in one of these corners and just slice away at it, that's where you're going to really maximize your damage. But unfortunately, I'm bad at pretty much everything I do, so I'm going to have a little bit more of a harder time with doing something like that. You want to try to approach it from the front like that, because instead of having to get correct angles, you can just like attached to Morpha because you're just going straight through the waves. And I am in the water. That is a very bad place to be. As you can see, not only did I take damage, but they have a higher chance of grabbing a hold of me. You want to stay on these outer edges. It's just a lot easier to have control. So, let me leave! You can actually hookshot across. There's hookshot things here, but I never find it useful to hookshot across the room. I think they're trying to go for what you would eventually do in the first boss of Wind Waker, but I don't really see a point to ever doing something like that in this room. Come on, Morpha, you know you want to be killed. Oh, hey, we get to actually see the grabbing attack. There's nothing you can do at this point. You just got to really sit there and take the damage. Yeah, Morpha can throw you back in the water, and that's really kind of the worst part, is because you're not high enough to just immediately climb out. So when you're trying to climb out on this ladder to jump back out, it can just immediately grab you again after it throws you to really, like, stockpile damage. It can really hammer down on you. So you want to try to avoid that, but, like being thrown did do a lot. It did, like, 3-4 hearts of damage, but I don't know, man. It's not that threatening. I remember seeing it in the trailers for Ocarina of Time 3D. Come on, you gotta be close to death. There's 2 attacks on you right now? Come on. Wow, I actually have my headphones in, and believe it or not, it's doing some really cool stuff with the audio. Like, you can actually hear the direction Morpha is coming from, which... Okay, we beat it, but yeah, you can hear the direction that the waves are coming from, like where they start to form up in your headphones. Like, it was coming from the left, and I heard it only on my left side. And I know that that's a commonly used technique, especially in games like Five Nights at Freddy's, where they use audio like that to, like, have you maneuver, but I didn't expect that from a Nintendo 64 Zelda game. That is really cool. All the water has dried up. And be sure not to step on that glowing light without grabbing your 16th heart container. Only 4 more to go, and 2 of them are from dungeons, which means we have only 6 heart pieces left. Alright, let us step through and awaken the Sage of Water, whoever it may be. Link, I would have expected no less from the man I chose to be my husband. Zora's domain and its people will eventually return to their original state. Of course, we won't see that in the actual game. As a reward, I grant my eternal love to you. It's what I've always wanted. Ruto ain't got shit on Mifa. Mifa gang. Well, that's what I want to say, but I don't think I can offer that now. I have to guard the water temple as the Sage of Water. And you're searching for the princess, Zelda? Ha! You can't hide anything from me. Princess Zelda, she's alive. I can sense it, so don't be discouraged. I can tell that nothing will stop you in your quest for justice and peace. You must take this medallion. Take it, respectfully. Wow, Ruto, you've really grown and matured, accepting the responsibilities of an adult and realizing what's at stake. I'm proud of you, Ruto. I really like Ruto's character, how she develops from a kid to an adult. Ruto awakens as a sage and adds her power to yours. If you see Sheik, please give him my thanks, okay? As the water rises, the evil is vanishing from the lake. Link, you did it. Princess Ruto says thank you. Did Ruto want to thank me? I see. We have to return peace to Hyrule for her sake too, don't we? Look at that, Link. Together, you and Princess Ruto destroyed the evil monster. She didn't really do anything, but okay. Once again, the lake is filled with pure water. All is as it was here. She cleaves once more, and no matter what time you entered the water temple, it will always be sunrise. So, next time on The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, my worst enemy will return. I'll see you guys then.